Hello everyone, I'm Kushal from the Sophos community team, and today I'll be covering the installation and setup of Sophos NDR on ESXi. Sophos Network Detection and Response reports all detection data to the Threat Analysis Center in Sophos Central by using a span port to scan traffic generated from your ESXi environment. Today, I'll be going through the setup in Sophos Central, setting up your virtual networking, and deploying the NDR OVA. Prior to deployment, ensure that you are running ESXi or another supported hypervisor, you have enabled HTTP access out of the target network to Sophos Central, there is no web inspection or web proxy on the connection to Sophos Central, and the physical and/or virtual switches must be configured to allow span ports. For further documentation, check out the links in the video description. Now, let's get started. To begin the setup of NDR in Sophos Central, first go to the Threat Analysis Center. Go to Integrations, scroll down and select Sophos NDR, then click Add Instance. Here, we'll populate the settings and information to create an OVA file to deploy in ESXi. First, provide a name for the sensor, then name the virtual appliance that the NDR application will run on. Specify the platform you're using, in my case it's VMware. Here, you can use DHCP or manually specify the IP address and network configuration. I'll manually add mine here. Lastly, define any domains that should be excluded from the detections. We'll give the exclusions list a name and add Microsoft as an example. And click Save. At this point, an OVA virtual appliance file will be created for you to deploy in ESXi. This takes about 15 minutes to generate. So while I wait for the OVA file, I'll set up virtual networking in the ESXi environment. First, I need to set up the span port. This will mirror the traffic generated from your hosts locally and allow it to be routed to the Sophos NDR sensor. Open the network settings and go to the Port Groups tab. Select Add Port Group and give it a name. The VLAN ID must be set to 4095. This is not a valid VLAN, but tells the virtual switch that all traffic will be mirrored. Select the vSwitch you wish to mirror the traffic from. This is where all your devices reside, which you wish to monitor. Expand Security and select Accept next to Promiscuous Mode. I'll finish by clicking Add. And now you can see the span port I just created. You'll also want to monitor the network traffic coming in from outside. To do this, I'll create a new virtual switch. Go to Virtual Switches, add Standard Virtual Switch, give it a name, I'll call this vSwitch1, select a network card for uplink, and finish by clicking Add. And there's the new virtual switch. Now, I'll create another port group as I did earlier to span the traffic generated on this vSwitch. Go back to Port Groups, click Add Port Group, I'll call this one Span2, set the VLAN ID to 4095, select the vSwitch I just created in the last step, and once again under Security, I'll accept Promiscuous Mode. We'll finish by clicking Add. Now you'll see I've got both span ports. Span 1 will watch traffic inside the ESXi hosts, and Span 2 watches traffic outside. Okay, so now let's head back into Sophos Central. I'll download the OVA file for the Sophos NDR sensor by clicking the three dots on the right-hand side. You may need to refresh this if the option is not immediately available. I'll head back to the ESXi host and go to Virtual Machines. Click Create/Register VM. I'll choose Deploy a virtual machine from an OVF or an OVA file. On the next page, provide a name. Select the OVA file. Specify the data store where the VM will live. Under Network Mappings, select the two span ports we just created. Syslog and management can be left as default or changed if desired. For disk provisioning, I'll choose Thin. The Power On Automatically box can be left ticked. I'll click Next, then Finish. The VM will power on and go through its boot process. This can take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes based on the resources you've allocated to the virtual machine and the internet connection at your site. When opening the VM, you'll see the initial boot process and the VM will connect to Sophos Central. Once the startup checklist here completes, you'll see the scanning topology between the different components within the NDR sensor. If we check back in Sophos Central, we'll see it shows up as connected. If you don't see this show up correctly, try checking if the HTTPS traffic is being permitted to reach Sophos Central. Future integrations that you wish to deploy into ESXi can also be deployed onto the VM we created here. When deploying an OVF file, you'll select the same VM name we added during this setup process, so the same network environments can be monitored with the additional plugin. And that completes the NDR deployment on ESXi. I hope you found this video useful. Let us know by giving us a thumbs up on TechVids. Check out the documentation for this video in the video description. For further assistance, view and post questions on community.sophos.com and go to techvids.sophos.com for more great videos like this one. Thanks for watching.